Welcome to Does This Still Work? The podcast looks at movies and asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka. And today we're discussing Night of the Living Dead from 1968 and some historical context. This is our Halloween episode, and we play by Price is Right rules, so closest episode to release before Halloween without going over.
Okay.
That's some podcasty stuff. Here's some more podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the ones who will send their kids on a 2-hour drive to drop flowers off at their dead father's grave every year, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
Okay, George, give us some history.
Okay.
And that's the way it was.
There's never been a mass outbreak of necromantic cannibalism, at least not in the modern age, so there's not much in the way of cultural context for this film.
No, there is not, but I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it just occurred to me, I think the earliest references to zombies, obviously, was centuries ago, and basically, people, I think it started in Haiti or something like that, where people got sick, and they thought they were dead, when in fact they weren't dead, and that's where the whole zombie myth, I mean, that's a long shot of it. It's like vampires, there were no vampires, but there was a guy named Vlad the Impaler, and he would drink the blood, and suddenly became Dracula, and that sort of thing. So something based in reality then became this fantasy.
Right. The source of reanimation in this film is attributed to radiation from a NASA probe returning from Venus that explodes in Earth's atmosphere. Which is fucking stupid, but we'll get there. Radioactivity, or the emission of ionizing radiation or particles caused by the spontaneous disintegration of atomic nuclei, was discovered around the year 1900. We dropped nukes in 1945. And I'd argue that even today, people at large are too afraid of radiation for the wrong reasons and not afraid enough for the right ones.
Right, like people are afraid of nuclear power plants, as opposed to, people dumping waste.
Yeah.
Nuclear waste.
But let's see how that fear was being stoked in 1968. Joe, give us this headline from the Miami News of Miami, Florida.
Some Florida TV shows radiation.
That has to be one of the worst written headlines I've ever seen.
I agree with you there. I don't even understand.
Exactly.
Some shows radiation?
Yeah. The story is that the Pinellas County Health Department conducted a study that got accepted by the House Commerce Subcommittee showing that 18 out of 110 televisions made by General Electric, RCA, Westinghouse, and others leaked excessive radiation above acceptable standards.
Okay.
Now, TVs in the 1960s were of the cathode ray type. This meant that the inner surface of the screen had a phosphorescent coat and a beam of electrons was fired at it, scanning across it rapidly to draw the image. This necessarily created radiation. The levels weren't necessarily dangerous, just above the limits, which are set to be super low because you don't want to go over them and then actually have to worry. There's a safety margin built in there, and it's huge. But radiation safety margins for human adults and safety margins for children or even fetuses are vastly different.
That makes sense.
For more on why that is, Joe, give us this next headline, also from the Miami News.
Study conducted at New York Capitol.
This headline isn't scary enough.
It doesn't really tell you anything. Okay,
no. Yeah. It's remarkably not informative.
Not at all.
In 1953, the U.S. detonated a nuclear test weapon in the Nevada desert, sending radioactive fallout into the upper atmosphere. Later that year, a rainstorm in the Albany Troy area of New York brought that fallout down to Earth. In the 8 years before that rainstorm, there were 20 cases of leukemia in the 1 to 10 year age range.
Here.
In the 8 years after, there were 42 cases, more than double. The guy running the study, Professor E.J. Sternglass, said that the real casualties of a nuclear war wouldn't be the survivors, it'd be their children. He concluded that, and I'm quoting, "The sensitivity of the human ova and young embryo to protracted radiation may be at least a factor of 10 greater than had been widely assumed so far."
Okay.
The risk of cancer from radiation is directly proportional to the rate of cell division in an organism. In a human embryo, the only thing it's doing is dividing its cells. Children are undergoing way more cell division than adults as part of that whole growing process. When a cell is damaged by radiation, one of 4 things can happen. The cell is damaged and manages to repair the damage. This is the best case scenario. The cell dies. This is the next best case scenario. The cell DNA gets damaged, and when it divides, its daughters die. That's one step away from the worst outcome. The worst outcome is the cell DNA gets damaged, it divides, and passes that damage along to its daughters, which divide, passing that damage on, and so forth. The more often your cells are dividing, the higher the likelihood of that last outcome is. That outcome is how radiation causes cancer, and that's how you get a doubling in childhood leukemia cases after a rain of fallout.
Well, I have to say, I always did hate division.
Yeah. And also, childhood leukemia is one reason why I don't think God exists.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of evidence for that. But that's a good start.
Yeah. Radioactive contamination has a way of getting out of where you want it to stay, as we'll learn in this next story. Joe, give us this last headline from the Palm Beach Post of West Palm Beach, Florida.
A quick question before I read the headline. Was this story set in Florida?
No, that's just when I typed radiation in 1968, this is where all the stories were.
We're in Florida for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, no, but they're not. But these stories aren't all in Florida. One was in Florida, one was about something that happened, started in Nevada and ended up in Albany, and the last one is in Nevada. So it's a Florida newspaper, but it's talking about everywhere.
Okay, well, the sources are all Florida. I'm just wondering if that was the case. Anyway, the headline says, radiation leaks at test site.
The test site was the site of Project Faultless. Pin in that name.
Sounds like it had some faults.
Uh-huh. Now, the radiation detected near communities was minuscule, at a level of 0.5 millirem per hour. For reference, a chest x-ray would get you about 100 millirem.
Okay.
In an instant dose. What generated it was a 1 megaton thermonuclear bomb detonated 3,200 feet below the Nevada desert, generating 500,000 metric tons of highly radioactive material and causing the surrounding area to drop by 9 feet.
Wow.
Yep. It was determined that that particular area was no good for underground testing because, ironically, Project Faultless created fault lines.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yep. Pull that pin out. And then watch it drop by 9 feet. It's interesting that with so much radiation on Earth, the writers of this film felt they needed it to come from another planet.
Yeah, probably because it sounds spookier if you make it from another planet.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something I do want to point out, because before we started the show, we were chatting a bit, and I was listening to this podcast. I won't name it, but it was a podcast where they were talking about Halloween stories, and they were reading Reddit Halloween stories, and these were these scary stories. But as they read these things, the pattern I notice is something mundane happened, and they couldn't explain what this mundane thing was, therefore ghosts. Like, for example, a guy was sleeping. He couldn't move in his sleep. He was...
Sleep paralysis.
He had sleep paralysis, and he said sleep paralysis to his girlfriend. His girlfriend said he never had sleep paralysis in his life. Okay.
Until he did.
Whether sleep paralysis or not, why would you go from that to, oh, we had to be ghosts and we're haunted? And there was stuff like that. Oh, I saw these stains in the ceiling. I see these stains for. Maybe it's blood up in the ceiling. Based on what? It just... Phone calls would come in and people couldn't explain, oh, my mother's dead, but someone said this is my mother cold, therefore it must have been her calling me. I mean, all this, people get names wrong all the time, people get events wrong all the time. None of that is proof that there are ghosts. But that people can't explain something, so therefore ghosts. Same thing with religion. I can't explain it, therefore God. I can't explain it, therefore aliens. It's maddening. It's really, these are adults.
Yep, and it's funny because it works the opposite way with me. It's, oh, I can explain something, therefore that's not the reason. Oh, childhood leukemia. Oh, yeah, childhood leukemia exists. There are causes of it. It's not a punishment from any kind of deity. It's not a supernatural thing. It's just this natural thing as part of the world as it was made. Or as it came to be. That, I don't know, a loving God can't possibly be okay with existing. Like a loving mercy, it's the problem of evil, Joe. Yeah,
although I guess the argument could be, okay, well maybe God just isn't loving. That's all. Doesn't mean he doesn't exist, right? He's just not a loving God. He's like Thomas Jefferson.
That's moving in the opposite direction of what it needs to get me to think a God does exist. Removing attributes from it to make it more vague is how people get around having to challenge that belief.
Sure. Thomas Jefferson believed that God created the earth and then just went on about his business and left. Left us all on our own. He created the universe and then just...
Yeah, he was a deist.
Then he just went off somewhere.
Yep.
But I think most of the founding fathers were deists, weren't they?
Yeah, they sure the fuck were, Joe.
Why are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling through you to people who I have seen on the internet recently claiming that the Constitution has Jesus in it.
Oh boy, is that wrong.
It's text searchably wrong.
Well, I mean, if there's anything that's true, it's that people who are the most fervently religious have no idea about their religion.
Yep.
And their stupid book of superstition called the Bible, or the Quran, or the Torah. They're all made up nonsense. The Book of Mormon, it's all bullshit. But people have no idea. I guess in the case of Mormons, they may have a better idea of, because that guy was more recent, so they'll know about Smith or whatever the hell his name was. Joe Smith, Bob Smith.
You should remember his name, Joseph.
It was Joseph Smith, okay.
All right, let's talk about Night of the Living Dead.
Let's do that. Okay, this is written and directed by George A. Romero.
That's a lot of letters in common with my name, just not all of them.
Hadn't realized that, but that is correct. It was also written by a John A. Russo. And the only film I've seen of Mr. Romero's was The Return of the Living Dead.
And fun fact, that's the only thing of anybody in this movie that either of us have known about ever.
Yes. George and I were debating over why there were no brain stuff. And the brains is in The Return of the Living Dead. And the original here, Night of the Living Dead, they just eat the whole bodies. There's no brain stuff. That's Return of the Living Dead. And I'm sure in the other movies, they probably had other mythologies they threw in. And as we know, later on, and I didn't see the picture, but I know, 28 days later, or whatever it's called, that the zombies there apparently have huge dongs for some reason. I'm not being vulgar. That's literally what I was told. Yeah, and interviewers also mention it. Fairly the film.
Believe it.
You're running around without clothes, and I guess it makes sense. Why would you wear clothes? You're a zombie. You don't need clothes. But apparently, it also gives you good, strong power down under. You know what?
All right. We can stop talking about that now.
Anyway, let's get into the blurbs. IMDb says, a ragtag group of Pennsylvanians. Oh, that's where this is taking place.
Yeah.
A ragtag group of Pennsylvanians barricade themselves in an old farmhouse to remain safe from a horde of flesh-eating ghouls that are ravaging the northeast of the United States. Okay.
All right,
YouTube says...
Joe, don't go on a tear about YouTube on this one, because YouTube isn't actually controlling any of these descriptions. Whoever uploads it puts the description there. So it's literally every studio, every independent, like anybody who's uploaded the video is the one that puts that there. It's not YouTube's fault. We can't keep knocking YouTube for it.
We so can.
We can knock whoever wrote it.
Night of the Living Dead is an American independent horror and cult film directed by George A. Romero and starring Dwayne Jones, Judith O'Dea, and Carl Hardman. Okay, that's an interesting name, but let's move on. It premiered on October the 1st, 1968, and was completed on a U.S. $114,000 budget. After decades of cinematic re-releases, the film ultimately became a financial success, grossing $12 million domestically and $18 million internationally. Night of the Living Dead was heavily criticized at its release, owing to explicit content, but eventually garnered critical acclaim and has been selected by the Library of Congress for preservation and a National Film Registry as a film deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Well, whoever wrote that was a lot.
Yeah, not wrong, just not much about the movie.
Not much about the movie, and
like
some of it,
a lot of meta context about the movie.
It just went on and on. But anyway, let's get into some of the characters we will be discussing. Unfortunately, there are not that many in the picture anyway. Well, Ben is played by Dwayne Jones, and some quick trivia. Dwayne Jones' role in Night of the Living Dead 1968 was the first time in American cinema that a black actor was cast in the lead role of a major motion picture that did not specify the part had to be played by a black actor.
Yeah, it wasn't a black role or a black movie. It was just a black guy in a movie in a lead role. First time
in 1968. Well, no, this isn't the first lead, because there were black cinema, which
right. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't that. It wasn't that the movie had anything black about it.
Right.
It's the first time a black guy got to lead a movie that wasn't black. The movie wasn't black. Although we'll discuss this later, but whether the ending suddenly made him black. I mean, he wasn't black throughout the rest of the film, but that ending, wait, was he black this whole time? But we'll get into it. Yeah.
Let's finish the rest of the cast.
Okay.
Barbara is played by Judith O'Dea. John is played by Russell Streiner.
Those are the brother and sister.
Yes. Harry Cooper is played by Carl Hardman. Great name. Helen Cooper is played by Marilyn Eastman. Hardman and Eastman. And Karen Cooper is played by Kyra Schroen. That's the actual daughter of Carl Hardman. That's a little girl.
So that is husband, wife, and daughter.
Yep. Tom is played by Keith Wayne, and it's his only credit. And Judy is played by Judith Ridley.
And that's boyfriend and girlfriend.
That's a boyfriend. And we should say, obviously right up front, we have not seen these people in anything else. And they really didn't act that much. Their credits are actually pretty limited, which is a surprise to me. Anyway, let me give you folks a quick plot summary. The movie opens with this brother and sister going to lay flowers on their late dad's grave, much to the annoyance of the brother. A zombie attacks them, only they don't know what this is that's coming at them. The sister gets away and finds a house to hide in. While there, a new character shows up and basically becomes the lead of the movie. Neither of them realize till later that they aren't the only two in the house. In fact, a family of a dad, a mom, and a daughter, as well as another heterosexual couple, have been hiding in the basement. Throughout the film, there is an argument over hiding in the basement or staying upstairs. After attempts to escape the house fails, characters start dying like flies to only the main characters left. After all that talk about the basement, that's actually where he goes to hide near the end of the film. He survives a zombie attack, only to get shot and killed by people shooting zombies. The end. Anything you want to add, George?
No, that basically covers the movie.
It does indeed. So let's get into this. Shall we? Do we want to discuss the original film you found before you found this one?
No, because I didn't watch it.
Okay. But you didn't pay for it.
Apparently.
All right.
It was black and white, or at least I thought it was.
It's in color. It starts out in black and white and becomes color later on. I looked.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that got me then. What was it? At least titled something?
It began with the same credits as the movie we saw, Night of the Living Dead, and then it becomes the new Night of the Living Dead 3D or whatever the hell. So it starts out in black and white. It's on a television, and then it moves away from the television to see it's now in color because someone is watching the movie A Night of the Living Dead. And then suddenly these people are in the picture, which is going to be just a remake of The Night of the Living Dead.
Oh my God.
This is why you pay attention to the dates. Okay. The History Corner covered radiation, and as many of you out there know, every other character created by Marvel in the 60s got their powers via radiation. The Hulk, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, radiation. Radiation is very much in the minds of Americans back in the day. Clearly, we saw in the articles. And here is a scary example of that, George. Read this headline I found on this website called Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists.
World's most dangerous toy? Radioactive Atomic Energy Lab kit with uranium, 1950.
But I'll read this. Before I do you know what uranium is? Do you want to give the folks out there what exactly it does?
Uranium is element 238 on the periodic table. That is what most of the uranium is. A small proportion of it is uranium-235, which has a high neutron absorption cross-section. So they use centrifuges to separate that out, and then they use the uranium-235 to build nuclear reactors.
Okay. Anyway,
Did you know that I would know that?
No, that's why I was asking.
Okay.
You might, but I wasn't sure. I mean, you work in that sort of thing, so I thought...
Yeah.
All right, so I will now read. The Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Lab was an actual radioactive toy and learning set sold in the early 1950s. The 4950 set came with 4 samples of uranium-bearing ores. Can you say these, George?
Autunite, tibernite, uraninite, and carnotite.
As well as a Geiger-Muller radiation counter and various other tools. The set also came with a comic book featuring Dagwood from the popular Blondie comic strip. It was titled Learn How Dagwood Splits the Atom, and written in conjunction with General Leslie Groves, director of the Manhattan Project. Radar magazine dubbed the Atomic Energy Lab one of the 10 most dangerous toys of all time in 2006. George, I ask of you, what the actual fuck? Madame Curie discovered polonium and radium in 1898. Her exposure to them would later kill her in 1934. How is it 16 years later, we still don't understand the link between cancer and irradiation, especially since we had the atomic bombs?
So, uranium-238 isn't super radioactive.
Okay.
That's why we have to get the 235 out. And the 235 itself isn't super radioactive either. It's just that it's really good at absorbing neutrons, and when it does, it becomes really fucking radioactive. So much so that it splits itself into 2 smaller pieces, releasing 2.3 mega electron volts of energy every time it does. Or every time one of them does.
So is that good for children or bad?
I mean, it's sort of neutral. It's not really going to...
Oh, so you're saying this toy isn't that dangerous then?
It's more dangerous than a lot of toys. But it's not as bad as it could
sound.
Yeah.
Because it sounds really bad to me. Now, well, moving on from that, because it's still very bizarre to me. I don't know if this is the first time where a woman falls down while being chased by a monster, but I know just about every horror film after this has that. Why are women so clumsy, George? And do guys never fall? I can't remember ever seeing it. Has you ever seen a horror film where the guy's running and he trips?
I tried to remember seeing that. I can't. I can definitely remember women falling down. I can't remember any guys doing that.
I remember tons of women. I don't remember one dude.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's just so weird. Why do they do that?
I mean, here's why. Because the script says so. Because they want to make it a little more dramatic, and the way to do that is to put the person being chased at something of a disadvantage by having them fall down. That's a really cheap way to get that disadvantage in there.
Sure, and I also think it's, obviously I'm going to say it's sexism, because Whereas a woman falling will identify with, oh my gosh, she's in trouble. Whereas a man falling, well, what a pussy. Get up, man. Fight him back. What do you, I mean, that's how I take it. Yeah. The reason the guys don't fall is because that's not manly. A man wouldn't fall. Whereas a woman, she's in danger. You expect women to be danger.
Sure. I mean, oftentimes women are also wearing shoes that aren't comfortable to walk in, much less run.
True, but I would imagine most out of the sense of, oh, I'll just take these shoes off so I can run from this creature. They would just continue to let me just keep running. Oh, I tripped. It's a trope that I can live without. Now, in the picture, and you can set this up if you want, they try and escape the building that they're trapped in, and they go out to this truck that's sitting there, and they get gasoline, and the gasoline accidentally gets on the car, and fire starts the car. I understand that part. What I couldn't understand is, why does the truck blow up? Did I miss something?
No, there's some fuel in the car, just not in the truck. There's just not enough. So when the truck catches on fire, eventually the fuel tank heats up and the vapors escape somehow, and the vapors catch fire and the truck explodes.
Okay, so you think that is from the vapors? Okay. Because it seems strange to me, like, that fire didn't seem that big, and that was a huge explosion. That was clearly a demolition-type explosion. Yeah.
But also, you know how the first of all, they're never called zombies in this movie. They are ghouls.
Yes.
The ghouls are eating the boyfriend and girlfriend who were in the truck when it exploded.
Right, Tom and what was it, Crystal or something?
Do you know what the ghoul actors were actually eating?
No.
Ham covered in chocolate sauce.
Sure, why not? And in black and white, who can tell?
Exactly. And the director said something to the effect of, it was so nauseating, we almost didn't have to do makeup because it was making everybody look all sick anyway.
I wonder why does chocolate sauce look more like blood than barbecue sauce?
It's black.
Well, chocolate sauce isn't actually black.
I mean, it's dark brown, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's easier to spread. Barbecue sauce, blood doesn't run like barbecue sauce does.
No, that's true. But it doesn't run like chocolate either.
It runs more like Hershey's syrup than like barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce, I guess so. All right, moving on. Who was right about hiding in the basement?
Ben was right. The lead guy was right to not only hide in the basement. It made sense to have two positions, one of them being a fallback position. They held that room for quite a while. They probably could have held it for a lot longer if they weren't fighting each other.
No, I agree. I think ultimately, yeah. And he even says it, fine, if it gets so bad, we will go into the basement. Meanwhile, let's stay up here, which makes complete sense. And you don't want to stay trapped there. And they even see a TV program telling them, hey, you need to go to these safe places. So they're like, Troy, we got to get out of here. We don't stay trapped there.
Well, I mean, they tried to get out of there.
No, I'm saying, that's what I mean. So the idea of staying in the basement makes no sense when you specifically told you should.
Well, yeah, but once their escape was no longer feasible because they were surrounded.
Yeah.
But then you still defend the upstairs. Sure. You defend that and your access to that radio and television and food and everything you have up there. But also you have more space up there. You have bathrooms up there.
Yeah.
You have things up there to use that you use until you can't anymore.
The thing I couldn't understand, and I think it's just a problem with the script, is that the guy gets up there, they find him in the basement, and goes like, oh, we're hiding down here in the basement, away from the creatures and everything. And he says, well, you're not taking the food down there. Why wouldn't he have already taken the food? Why wouldn't they already have stuff down there? Why would he? What have they been doing down there that whole time? And then suddenly arguing with this new...
They barricaded themselves down there and then just kind of assumed zombies were everywhere. Then they heard the commotion upstairs and eventually concluded, oh, that can't be zombies, that's probably humans.
Yeah, I guess, but it's still strange why they never brought anything down there, even a few things, and leave the rest upstairs. It was just an odd thing. And also, I mean, I don't know if there was any... there was electrical source down there, so you wonder why the guys didn't try and bring the refrigerator down there so they have something to eat and just plug it up downstairs. But in the basement, I don't know. It just seems strange. The guy, as aggressive as he is, he seems rather passive, which so seemed very odd to me. Do you think there was any sort of
aggressive assholes aren't cowards underneath?
Do you think, even though the character of Ben is not necessarily black, or do you think there was some sort of racial subtext between him and Mr. Hardman and whatever? This movie had none of the racism I expected for it to have from 1968. Like, Mr. What racism were you expecting?
All of it, because it was the fucking 60s. Like, Hardman, I wouldn't have had a problem, believing that character to be dropping N-bombs. Like, in his arguments with Ben. Like, it would have made sense. He seemed like that kind of jerk. But no, there was zero. Well, also remember, Ben has a gun through a lot of the pictures, so that may be part of the reason he went to that. That's a great way to get yourself shot. Fair. All right. So, let's get into it. Our main character is shot. Ben is killed at the end of the picture. Because he hides, everyone else is killed. Everyone gets killed by the zombies. He's the only one who managed to make it into the basement, hides there. Here's this commotion out the side, and decides, sounds like there may be some humans out there, not zombies. I also don't understand why the zombies left. Why they just... They did. They stopped trying to they couldn't get into the basement, so they went back to shambling about looking for other things to eat. I guess, but why didn't they just stay at the door? Did they have someplace to be? The zombies impatient? You think they just keep... They're hungry. They broke the door down. So they went elsewhere looking for things to eat. I guess so. But anyway, so he comes out. The guys are out there just shooting zombies, and they're legitimate zombies, so we know they're really zombies. They're shooting them. Okay. And then Ben goes to the window, seeing what's going on out there, and they go, there's someone, and they just shoot. Was that a racial shooting, or was that not? No. They shot because they saw the whites of his eyes, and Ben's mistake is he didn't use words. Because none of the zombies are using words. If he said, hey, don't shoot, they wouldn't have fucking shot. We hope, but yes. Yeah, he's definitely, it is curious why he doesn't, he knows this. He knows the creatures can't speak, so you think the first thing you go like, hey, someone's in here, hello. But no, he's sneaking up to the window with the gun, right? So he's moving slowly, and somebody sees that motion, and they're like, we can't take the risk, shoot it. Yeah. The only reason it gets more racial to me is because at the end, during the credit sequence, when they have the still photos of his body being put on the fire, came off as like, I don't know how many of these pictures you've seen, not movie pictures, I mean stills of lynchings. That's what it came across as to me. I mean, there could absolutely be a visual parallel there, but I don't think it was intentionally racial. Because they were doing that to everything. Because they had to. Because he died recently. So on the off chance that they didn't kill his brain enough with that gunshot, they had to destroy his body. Yes. No, I get it, but it was still just weird the way it's shot. It's like, that's the flashback I got. It's an unfortunate side effect of being in a culture where lynchings were a fucking thing. Mm-hmm. Did you know they used to sell postcards of people go to picnics to watch someone being lynched, and then they'd have they put up postcards of it. So nice, mature country. No wonder all these white Republicans want to get rid of our history, because it's terrible. Yep. What do you think of the gender roles in this picture? I think not good. This movie never heard of feminism. Well, it's 1968, so practically everyone in this picture hadn't heard of feminism. I mean, Helen Cooper does kind of stand up to her husband somewhat. Yes. But it's her standing up to her husband. That's like the barest level of female, competence. The girlfriend is a fucking idiot. She runs out of the house when they go to do the thing and gets trapped in, has to be fucking rescued. And then she gets stuck in the cab of the truck, which is why boyfriend ends up dying, because he's trying to free her when it explodes. Yes. And then the sister is damn near catatonic the entire movie because, the female mind is so weak. Yeah, I mean, the problem with the gender roles is that the women are all very
passive, even when she's standing up for her husband. But overall, they're very passive in what they're doing. And of course, the little girl doesn't achieve anything. Which is another point about the whole basement thing. If they had listened to the guy and actually went down in the basement, they would have been trapped in there with this girl who was suddenly turned into a zombie. So that would not have worked out.
Yeah, but as soon as she exhibited any kind of like zombie behavior, no, actually, you know what? That could have been a whole different dramatic angle of the father trying to stop Ben from killing the daughter.
And the mother as well. They both went with them to shoot. Understandably. The
mother doesn't even fight back. The mother gets knocked down by the daughter, who then stands over her with a shovel and stabs her to death. Roll out of the way of the shovel. You weren't disabled in any way. You were just on the ground.
Yeah, take it out of her hand. She doesn't have super normal power. She's not super strong. Just take it from her. Yeah, that scene was really weird. Like, she just, oh no, my daughter's can become a zombie or a ghoul. Now she's stabbing me. I'm like, what?
Yep.
That was weird. Yeah, but the overall problem is that the women are much too passive. If they had picked up a weapon themselves and started contributing to the beatings, then it'd make more sense. That's all you really had to do. Just that one little thing. Instead, they're all like, oh, let the men do. Oh, let the men. I'm too busy falling down while I'm being chased. I'm like, oh, brother. Well, this is not a long movie, so this won't be a long segment here. So let's just get into it. George, does it still work?
Yeah, I kind of think it still works. It's short, to the point. It's prototypical of this kind of film. And yeah, and it doesn't have the objectionable shit that we normally like. Yeah, the gender roles could have been better, but otherwise, I believe the interpersonal conflicts in it just fine. The silly science in it, fine, whatever. It's silly anyway.
Yeah, if you want real science in a zombie movie, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yep. What about you?
No, I agree completely. It still works. It's still a good movie. I'm sorry the actors didn't go on to anything else, because some of them are pretty good. I don't know why they didn't have much of a career after this. George A. Romero did. But everyone, I thought, put in a pretty good performance. The gender roles are not good. But beyond that, it's not... For 1968, it's pretty progressive. Let me put it that way. Because if you see some of the films put out in the 60s, you know why feminism happened in the 70s. Because, God damn, where there's some sexist stuff out there, just incredibly offensive. Just like women are just basically pieces of meat. They were dumb. They were there for men's pleasure. And if a man's having an affair, it's because something's wrong with the wife. And just like, there's a lot of subtext and stories out there from the 60s. They're like, bad. Very, very bad. So this film avoids most of that, at least. The women aren't great, but they're also not as bad as it can get. And overall, I think it still works as a picture. I think we've probably run out of zombie stories, but people keep telling them anyway. That's why we got now zombies with huge dogs. Where else can we go with this?
Okay.
I'm not, it's not me. I didn't make the movie.
I know, Joe. I know.
All right, George, what's up next?
All right. Our next episode is a Patron's Choice episode, and the patrons have voted. The poll theme was sports, and the options were Bad News Bears from 1976, Rudy from 1993, and Bend It Like Beckham from 2002.
Do you know any of these pictures?
I'm aware of at least two, of Rudy and Bend It Like Beckham.
Okay.
I haven't seen any, though.
Do you know what any of these, besides sports, do you know what the sports are in each of these pictures?
Bad News Bears, I'm going to guess, is baseball. Rudy is football. Bend It Like Beckham is soccer.
Very good. You got it. Yeah.
All right. And the winner is Bad News Bears from 1976. If you want to vote but are not a patron, you can fix that by becoming one at patreon.com/DTSWpod.
So I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Ramaka. Thanks for listening indeed. Because
George A. Ramaka.
Yeah. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around...
See, that's a yes and.
It's my name. I don't have a middle name.
I No, you're supposed to build on it. Make a joke like, yeah, George A. Ramaka. No, that's George A. I don't know, name Hitchcock. I don't know. You gotta come on. You gotta work with me here. That's you negating.
I didn't even negate. I just made him kept going.
What was that?
Thanks for listening, indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Ramaka. This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
And Judy is played by Judith Ridley. Sorry. And Judith is played by Judith Ridley.
And Judy, you said it right the first time. All right. Dear Helen, I am nearly 19 and in college. Dear Helen, our school board in a new family life education series for public schools here. Dear Helen, I've got a troublemaking sister-in-law who's caused me nothing but grief.